What's going on, everybody? Welcome to our Wednesday team call. We're going to get started right away since we have our guest, Jamie Fitzpatrick, on with us today. I'm going to go over a couple announcements, and I'll give him his proper introduction, and we're going to let him run with it. So, because you guys hear from me enough, so we'll let you guys hear from him. But Jamie and Kim Fitzpatrick, they are up in Canada, and they are just absolutely killing it. So, if you guys were at Super Saturday, you'll recognize Jamie from one of the success story videos that was shared on the Super Saturday video. And that video was awesome, by the way. But Jamie is an 8-star diamond coach. He's an elite coach. Correct me if I'm wrong, but you're qualifying, right, Jamie, for 9 or something like that?
Yeah, I think I'll be 10 tomorrow, I guess. So fingers
10.
crossed.
Awesome. So big 10-star diamond tomorrow. 2017, number 6 coach in the company. Due to his team's working out, his work and the team's efforts as well. And I'm just getting to know a little bit more about you as we go too, Jamie, right? Your brother is also an elite coach. Is that correct?
Yeah, he's a 5-star elite. Yep.
So his brother is also 5-star elite coach. So you'll get to learn a little bit about Jamie as he tells his story, kind of where his drive comes from, where that's coming from. But I want to let you guys know that I look up to Jamie. He's just out there just doing the work, and he has some awesome tips that he wants to share with you guys. He's going to spend about 30 minutes teaching and sharing with us, and then after that he's going to open up for about 10 minutes of question and answer. So if you have any questions as we're going, feel free to write them down so you can jump on that opportunity at the end. But I also wanted to, before we turn the time over to him, is just remind you guys that we have Super Saturday coming up the first week in April. So you want to be make sure that that's marked on your calendar, that you have that all set and ready to go. And also that we have Summit in the middle of July. So if you don't know what Summit is, feel free to reach out to me. Chat in the chat box below. Ask somebody. We'll make sure you know what it is. But Summit has been a huge thing that has helped my business get to where it's at. A lot of times people are like, what have you done to get to where you're at? And one of the things is hit Success Club 10 every single month. But I've also made sure to get everybody possible to Super Saturday events and summits. I remember my very first summit, I took 50 people with me. The next time was about 250. The next year was about 700. And then the following year was about 1,400. So I always say that success leaves clues. So make sure you get to events. Make sure that your team gets to events as well. And so if you're not coming to Summit yet, that's my nudge to you that that's where you need to be. You're on the call because you want to learn how to grow your business. So if you're not signed up for Summit or asking about how to get to Summit, you're not all the way in yet. So that's my challenge to you guys, to go all the way in, figure out that, and then figure out how to get there. We'll help you guys find roommates and whatnot, but we just want you to be there with us in July. So with that being said, one other quick announcement. They are going to continue with the Shakeology All Access Challenge Pack at $199. They're going to be only worth 2 points now. As the promotion, as we started, it was worth 3 points. It's now worth 2 points like any other challenge pack. The other awesome news is that a Shakeology Home Direct order is now worth 2 points as well. So it still goes along with the philosophy that we've kind of created with our team back in 2014-ish, which is we call the Success Club the 3 Lives Club. So either way, it's still helping 3 people. To get into Success Club 5, it's helping 3 people. So 2 points for Shakeology Home Direct, 2 points for Challenge Pack, as well as the Shakeology or the All Access Challenge Pack, 2 points as well. And I'm excited that they changed it to 2 points because it's lowering the bar and the standard if we keep it at 3, making it only helping 2 people to get into Success Club. And I don't think we should ever lower the standard for us as a company and as coaches. So with that being said, that's all I have for announcements right now. Jamie, I'm going to pass the time over to you, brother.
Awesome. You guys can hear me good? Cool. Well, for me, this is kind of like, and I'm Canadian, so I'm going to use these references, so I apologize, but this is kind of like for me growing up when, I played hockey growing up, so you idolize kind of like Wayne Gretzky growing up, and I remember I think I was like 10 years old, and I subscribed to his fan club, and they'd send me all these pictures of him and stuff like that. For me, this is kind of like that for me, because my upline is Miguel, who's amazing, another male coach, who's obviously a mentor of mine. And the other person I obviously looked up to, and it was really those two when I started. I started watching YouTube videos and all that stuff. And I kind of dove into what Scotty was doing from day one and just tried to consume as much of Scotty. I don't even think I've ever told Scotty this, but I consumed as much of his stuff as I could, because you got to be a sponge in this business, right? So it's kind of like, for me, I signed up about almost 2 years ago to the day, January 29th. And it's kind of like Wayne Gretzky's kind of asked me to come play pickup hockey with them. Like, that's how I feel being on this call to get asked to do this. So Scotty, very, very honored to be asked to do this. So thank you very much. So yeah, you mentioned Summit. It was about 18 months ago to this day, I went to my first Summit, and I went alone. Like, I knew a few people on Miguel's team, but that was only 18 months ago, you guys. I got to my hotel. I kind of walked around, kind of recognized a few people, had no one from my team there. And it's true. Like, I kind of say, and listen, I get financial stuff is in the way for some people, and we all have to be responsible. I get that, but I would do whatever you can to go. Because for me, I had got my business rolling in the first kind of 4, 5, 6 months. And then I went to Summit. And for me, that was just like, okay, I got to take this to another level. And I actually annoyed me that I didn't have anyone there on my team. Like, that bothered me, seeing all these people walking around in shirts and stuff. And you could tell they were part of a team. And it didn't bother me that much to the point where I got upset about it. But I was like, you know what? In the next couple of summits, I'm going to bring a team here. So that powered me. And the stuff you learn there is incredible. So do whatever you can to get there. It is well worth your time. So I want to dive right in here, because we are limited on time, and I know we're all busy, but I think I can share my screen here, eh, Scotty? Let's see here. Yeah.
Yep, you should be able to.
You guys all see that? Thank you. So, yeah, we all have a story. I tell my coaches, and I recommend it to everybody, tell your story often. It's what's relatable. We all have baggage. We all have our challenges. Perfect is boring anyway, and no one wants to see that. So for me, I was about probably 6, 7 years ago. I guess you saw it maybe if you saw you're at the Super Saturday, you saw my story. I gained about 65 pounds. My brother and I had started a company. We got the company to about 23 retail stores. We were franchisors, so we were franchising out the concept. It turned into a totally different business. We got into legal stuff with the business partners and all that stuff. It's a classic story that you hear. And I got to a point where I was so stressed out, I would just self-medicate. Food, other stuff, and I gained about 65, 70 pounds. And I was miserable, unhappy. We just had our first son, Colby. And classic story, watching infomercial, probably eating pizza, beer, whatever I was consuming that night. And I saw good old Tony Horton come on the screen, and I ordered the infomercial for whatever reason. And that sort of put me on the path to Beachbody. And I lost probably about 65 pounds total, got down really low to a weight, and then I realized I had to put on some more muscle. So I packed on about 15 pounds of muscle after that. And then, because the coaching opportunity never really came to Canada until about 3.5 years ago. And we were actually, my wife and I were both Shakeology users before we even started coaching. And I say this all the time, and this is why you need to keep reaching out to people about the opportunity, not just about your challenge groups and stuff like that, but reaching out to people about the opportunity, because my wife and I were customers for about 2 years, and everyone talks about saturation in the market and stuff. Nobody reached out to my wife and I about coaching. Not once. Not once. And I say to this day, it's like, listen, I'm sure if someone would have reached out to us and been like, oh, that seems cool. We were into health and fitness. We like business. We were posting even workout stuff online before we even knew about Beachbody coaching. So you never know who that next person you're going to reach out to. You never know who that's going to be, and they could completely blow up your weak leg. So you got to keep doing those vitals, you guys. Obviously, this is my why. We have 2 children. My wife and I both work the business. My wife is also a 2017 elite coach. We have 2 kids, Colby and Tessa, and this is why I do what I do. Primarily, obviously, there's a component of this business that kind of touches your soul, and if you've ever got a message from someone who's thanked you for changing their life and changing what they're doing, that keeps you moving forward. But these are the people of why I do what I do. So, and the other thing to mention to you guys is we we built our business both working full time. So, anytime my coaches on my team come to me and complain about time, and they come to me and they complain about not having enough time, I kind of, I never make them feel guilty about it, because we all have different hours in the day and stuff like that, although we do all have 24 hours. However, it's really about making priorities and sacrifices, which I also want to talk about. And we always put our kids first. That's number one. Our kids are in dance, ballet, karate, baseball, basketball. I mean, we don't cut back on that stuff, but we sacrifice in some stuff that Kim and I do personally. And I'll talk a bit more about that, but these people are why we all do what we do. So let's get into it. And I've done this presentation only once before, and I've kind of tweaked it this time, but I kind of want to talk about what it took for me to go, like, from 18 months ago, going to our first summit with nobody on my team and no one there. My wife didn't even come with me. I actually drove down from Canada to Nashville in my Jeep. And what it took to get to, like, number 6 in the company. And I don't want this to be about ego. It really isn't. It is such a team award, as Scotty knows. You need a team to rank that high. It is such a team award. I always tell people, I could hit 400 Success Club points, previously, before the new rules, actually, I could hit those numbers and it wouldn't have any impact on that. This is really about your team and what it does. And so I want to really make that clear. But I feel life success is all about belief. And I believe your ability to not only believe in yourself, but believe in your coaches and your clients and the people in your challenge group, that is everything to me. Like, there's no greater currency to me anyway than, sending out, and I try to do this daily. Some days I miss, but I have 3 to 5 either clients or coaches on a daily basis. Now I send voice messages through Facebook, and I just tell them how proud I am of them, and that I believe in what they're doing. And before I message them, clients or coaches, by the way, either or, it doesn't matter. I'll try to reach out to them and just tell them that I believe in what they're doing. And I don't even give constructive feedback at that time. I lay out that 5 minutes it takes. It's such a small amount of time it takes to do this, but I think the impact is so great in your business. I just tell them I believe in them. And I'll go to their page before, especially if it's a coach, and I'll just say, I love what you did here. I find something positive about that, and kind of shout them out. Just one-on-one, voice note. Sometimes it's a message, depending where I am. And I feel like that just instills so much in people. Because the real key here is, if maybe they don't believe in themselves right now, and that kind of filters through everything you do as a coach, is belief and your level of belief. But at least if I'm believing in something that they're doing, guess what? If you do that long enough, they're going to start to believe in what they're doing. And that's been huge in our business. We tried to do that from day one. My wife, Kim, has a saying. She calls it, your competence builds your confidence. And so I always tell people, do your personal development. I know you get sick of hearing about it, about how everyone preaches personal development. I'm telling you, I say this all the time. If you're not doing regular PD, you're going to struggle in your business. I don't want to talk too much about that, but that's just the truth. It's the truth, you guys, because when you take on other thoughts and the way other people think, not only does it arm you in your Facebook and social media posts, it actually changes your posts, even whether you're not even conscious of it. That all oozes through in what you're doing. That stuff comes through in your conversations with people, clients, coaches. All that stuff is about being competent in what you're doing. And if the more competent you are, it can't help but build your confidence. And once you're confident in something, man, again, it filters out into everything you're doing, you guys. The little conversations you have with people. When you walk in a room and you become confident in what you're doing. And I want to say this right now. I don't think confidence is a personality trait. Mel Robbins talks about this. If you don't know Mel Robbins, go check her out. She's amazing. She talks about this. And I agree with her. I don't think confidence is a personality trait. You don't just become confident. I think it's like a learned behavior. And sometimes it takes a while to get there. But man, if you can build that component of yourself, like build that confidence in you, that is going to change the way you run your business. It's going to change your conversations with people. It's going to change what you do with clients. It's going to attract more people to you. Let's see what else happens here. Yeah, we talked about Mel Robbins. Like, go check her out. She's done a bunch of stuff with, and I don't want to talk too much about her, but she's done a bunch of stuff with the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Like, if you're unsure about doing something, just commit to it within 5 seconds and then figure it out after. I kind of have a thing where if anyone asks me to do something now, whether it's a call, like a national wake up call, which scared the crap out of me, figure out, I worry about it after the fact. And I say yes immediately because I don't want my actual brain and emotional thing to get involved first, because I know it's something that's going to grow me as a human being. So when you get to that point where you want to invite someone to the opportunity, just do it within 5 seconds. Get on your Facebook, log in, send a voice note. Worry about the aftermath after, because once you give it 5 seconds, your brain and emotions start to kick in. Then you start worrying about what you're actually doing. So I try to have that rule in everything I'm doing. Here's a little interesting thing here. So, and again, this, trust me, this isn't about ego for me. When I started coaching, finishing in the top 10 was like, I don't know. It's such a crazy thing to me. And I'm not trying to make it so dramatic that the top 10 is everything, but like corporate does a good job of making it this big deal. But it's something that I never really strove for. My whole goal when I started this opportunity was I wanted to bring either myself or my wife home, because we both had corporate jobs. We were both on the road. And I just wanted to have more freedom in our life. We don't need more stuff. We don't need another car. We don't need a bigger home. We don't need, maybe an extra vacation is nice, but we didn't need more stuff. But we wanted to bring at least one of us home, because we've been paying for childcare, preschool, aftercare. We've both been working, picking our kids up some days at 6:30, at night. And I get it. Like, we were there. You have to do what you have to do. And some of you on this call probably are in that situation. But that's what I wanted to change about our life. And part of that was, believing in the process, but I also had other people believing in me too. And this is, Arnaud Nakaha is my corporate guy. I know you have different ones in the US, and he sent me this last year around, what was it? Yeah, July 22nd, he sent me this. So the top 10 was on this billboard in Nashville, right? They put the top 10 faces up there, which I thought was really cool when I saw it. And Arnaud, my corporate guy, he sends this to me. He's like, you can see they're pretty cool billboard for top 10 fits. That'll be you next year. And I think when he sent this to me at the time, I think I was ranked number 14, maybe 13. I can't remember. And even then I was like, that's cool. But like, even top 10, like I saw the names ahead of me that I'd have to pass. And I still consider myself a new coach. So I was like, this is just crazy. But I kind of responded, not out of cockiness or ego, but I knew that Arnaud believed in me. I knew I had my whole team behind me because we talked about it. But I just did up a little graphic. I think I blocked out Bonnie Engel actually, and I covered her up, her picture up with my own little picture I grabbed, and I sent it back to Arnaud saying like, listen, and it's not like doing an old little, daily vision board. And I just kind of, I not only let him know that I believed in what was going on, but I kind of did that for myself, be like, yeah, you know what? I think I can have my face up on that board. And so even after they came out with the rankings, I still didn't actually believe it until I saw this graphic that came out on the right. That really, like, when they sent this graphic out, I was shaking my head being like, wow, this is so crazy. So it's about that belief concept. And another picture they sent here was on the corporate walls. And I'm doing this, guys, not to accentuate the fact that I finished top 10, but I'm a small town kid from Northern Canada. Like, I grew up in a town of 5,000 people. You are all capable of anything in this business that you want. You really are. And the problem will be if you don't believe that. That's where the problem's going to come in, is if you don't believe that that is possible, you have to get to a point where you do. And a lot of that comes from belief, confidence, PD, all that stuff that I've already talked about. My parents were teachers. I watched them work really hard. They weren't home a lot. So we kind of had to fend for ourselves a lot. But what they instilled in me is that if you work really hard, good things will happen to you. And as I grew up as a kid, I was into, like, you asked me to fix something, man, I can't fix anything. I am not handy. You tell me to change the oil on the car, I will look at you like you have 3 heads. My dad, the way he showed his love to me was he would take me outside. He'd like show me how to throw a curveball in baseball. He was my hockey coach. I grew up in a very small town, big fish, small pond, but a lot of people thought I was supposed to play professional hockey growing up. And for a variety of reasons, I was always the smallest kid on the ice, and I was scared. Like, I remember my dad coming and saying to me, he was at like 15 years old. He's like, I'll send you to this hockey school and you live there and go to school. It was in the middle of Canada somewhere I'd never heard about. And I was scared and I was fearful. And I actually quit hockey at the age of 16. And it's not that I so much regret it, because being a professional athlete is like, you have to be so minuscule percent to be, and I don't think I ever would have made it looking back. But at the time, I for a lot of years, I regretted it, quitting hockey, because I thought what have, could have. But I made a onus to myself that I would never let fear come in the way of stopping me from doing something else. And I made that pact with myself. And so I went through these different careers. I was a high school teacher, and I actually enjoyed it. But it wasn't the end all be all for me. I knew there was something else for me. So then my brother and I started this company. We just left teaching. Like, I taught for 7 years. I had a pension. It was a good paying job. And I said, you know what? I want to try something different. And again, I swore to myself, if I had an instinct to do something, being within reason, like, I'm a fan of practicality. I get it. You have to pay bills and stuff. I just wasn't going to limit myself from trying new things. And so we opened up the business. That went well. And then I finally left the company and got bought out and stuff like that, because I wasn't happy, and we got into legal stuff. And then Beachbody came, and I said to myself, I just wasn't going to stop myself from trying something new that I thought would be good for me based on fear. So here's the other thing, like, it brings me to my next slide and it's not a pet peeve of mine, but how do you be a leader, right? If you've never been a leader before, how do you do that? And where do you cross from being someone who not someone who just sells challenge packs? That's not the term, maybe the wrong term I used, but how do you go from someone who runs challenge groups, gets people results, to becoming a business mentor / entrepreneur / someone who helps build their own business? And I think you have to walk the walk. I think you have to stop doing some of the activities that I would term followers are doing. The term I use is like, if your life is a movie, be the leading person, like, be the leading man. Don't be the person running the cameras. If you are a movie camera operator, I don't mean any disrespect by that, but it's like, I see coaches all the time and all the time where, like, they follow top coaches, and that's okay. I get that you're trying to learn from them, but I see it all the time where they're liking and commenting on their stuff. It's like, guys, like, be the star. Be the star. Don't be the fan in this business. And we see that a lot, you guys. And that actually gets in the way of what you're trying to do, because you are trying to be the CEO. It's like, get out of that employee mindset. Get out of that fan mindset. You are the leader. You're the CEO. Like, stop liking on other people's stuff. And also, aside from that, like, let's talk about Facebook algorithms. When you comment on other people's stuff, especially other coaches' stuff, not to scare you or anything like that, but when you do that, you're actually opening up. You're being like, hey guys, this is my contact list. Here, have a look at that. Like, if you don't think like Bonnie Engel and them are good at, like, and they don't know who these people are, and I've used Bonnie Engel twice. I know Bonnie, so I can say that, but like, a lot of these coaches are really good on Facebook. So you going and liking all their stuff, you're actually opening up your friends list to people, whether they know it or not, or you know it or not. So it's okay to learn from other people, but don't be so much that you're spending some of that time that is so valuable to all of us. Don't spend that time on other people's stuff. Spend it on the vitals of inviting and relationship building. And that's part of being a leader, you guys. I always ask the question to my coaches. It's like, you're trying to attract people to your team. And I'm a big believer in what you put out in the universe, what you verbally say, like what you type out. I believe that has power. I believe it comes back to you. Some people think it's hokey. I believe in it 100%. So when someone on my team page or team chat writes something negative, I'm just like, no, because you're attracting that stuff. Like, I believe that. So the analogy I like to use is like, would you want to attract you onto your team? The daily activities that you're doing, the type of coach that you are, and only you know, and I don't care about rank or anything that or how long you've been coaching. The way you are as a coach right now, is that who you want to attract onto your team? Because that's who you're going to get. That's who you're going to get. All the things that you do, the daily activities that you do, how much time you commit to your business, all the time wasting activities that you do, that's probably, it's not an exact science, but that's probably who you're going to attract. And I think that's a really important and honest question you have to ask yourself is, are you going to attract the people who really want to work? Are you going to attract the leaders who want to work this business? But you have to do that stuff first, you know? And that's who the people that you're going to want to attract onto your team. Like people are like, how do you guys attract so many coaches? We're not big recruiters, my wife and I. And I think about it this way too. Like my wife and I actually split coaches that we attract. So coaches that come through our challenge groups, my wife, like, and we have to take our ego out of this. Trust me. Like we all have ego, you guys. Like my wife and I we're both have big goals ourselves. We run it together as a business, but sometimes we have a coach come to us as a couple. They're like, I want to sign up on your team. And my wife and I look at each other like, okay, what's going to happen now? Like, so we actually have to chop our coaches. I hate using the word chop. It's like a poker term, but we actually have to split up the coaches who come on our team. And so you kind of have to you have to treat those people who want to work with you like gold. And man, it does matter. And the point I was trying to make is like, we don't recruit that. I mean, we're not like recruiting 50 coaches a month like some people. We're not even recruiting like 20 coaches a month. Like there's a lot of the coaches who's, you know, quote unquote in the top 50 or top 10, they're recruiting these massive numbers. We're not like that. We don't do that. So we really try to watch what we do in our business. So we make sure we can attract the quality people. I think the more quality coaches that my wife and I are, the more quality coaches we're going to attract. And that's kind of part of being in that leadership mindset, being in that CEO mindset. The other thing we do is, again, we're not mass coach marketers. We don't bring in a bunch of coaches. You know, now that we have a little bit of notoriety and, you know, we're top 10, it's like, yeah, we do have coaches reaching out to us who are like, hey, I like what you're doing on social media. So there is that attraction marketing that comes into play. But we built this business through challenge groups. And that's, I don't know if that's the right way to do it. That's how we've done it. And we've built our business organically. And we pour our heart and soul into our challenge groups. Like we pour everything we have into that. We build relationships. Like my wife is fantastic in them too. Like she won't let anyone get in the last word in her challenge groups. Like if someone comments, she comments after them. If someone comments again, she comments. Like she just loves them up, clients. Mostly clients. We obviously let our new coaches come in our challenge group, but like that is the core of our business, because we want to make sure when they come out the other side of our challenge group, we call them accountability groups, but we also have different themes. Sometimes we call them badass groups or happiness project. We'll term them different stuff, but we want to make sure at the end of that 21 days or 30 days, and we restart our challenge groups. Like we restart a challenge group in a new group every month. We don't just carry them over. And we just want to make sure at the end of that 4-week process that they come out. Yeah, weight loss is great, but it's not what we focus on. We just want to make sure they come out, they come out feeling a little bit better about who they are and the direction that they're going in their life, but from when they came in. That's our number one mission. We want them to feel better about who they are and where they're going in their life on the back end of that challenge group. We feel like if we've done that, we've made some progress with them. Weight loss, inches, yeah, that's the byproduct, and that naturally happens. So we focus a lot on mindset and really on making sure that they're just happier human beings on the back end. And what that does is, for us anyway, is we have people falling in love with the accountability group. They fall in love with the product. They fall in love with the process. And then you want to talk about, you know, not how easy it is, but it's so much easier trying to tell people and coming up with a conversation saying, hey, have you ever thought about coaching and inspiring other people? You love what's going on in the accountability group. Imagine you being able to do the same thing. And for us, from day one, that's where we've got probably the percentage is skewing now as we've kind of moved up the rankings and stuff. It's skewing a little bit, but I would still say 90% of our team is from our challenge groups. You know, it's maybe going more where it's like 70, 80 because more people are coming out of the woodwork and just wanting to coach with us. Some even not even doing Beachbody. But I'm telling you, like, you can build this business organically from the ground up through challenge groups, because that's what we've done. And I think you find the people who, and listen, we have people on our team who, you know, we did find through Facebook ads and stuff like that. Again, Facebook ads isn't what grew our business. It's about getting into the trenches in those challenge groups and running that. And that's been a big thing for us. And find the joy. That's kind of a generalized statement, but this business gets really busy, and especially when you're doing it with your wife, and we have 2 children and they're always a priority. You have to keep the joy in this and find the joy in this. And for some people, again, I know you hear this a lot, but if you're chasing the income, it's never going to work for you, because that's not what this is about. But you have to keep the happiness in this, and you know, find a place in your life where coaching fits into it. And there is no other business that you could be doing. Again, this is my opinion. There's no other business like Beachbody Coaching where you get such a emotional and, I'm trying to think of the word that I'm trying to think of, but like, there's nothing that gives back to you like coaching does. There's just nothing you could do. There's no other opportunity, I believe. I guess if you were, doctors and nurses and I'm trying to think of maybe first responders and stuff might have the same stuff, but like to be able to reach people in an online format like this and have people send you messages of how grateful they are for literally, you know, improving their marriage or improving their relationship with their brother, or them waking up in the morning with a smile on their face and actually be comfortable going out in public. You're not going to find that anywhere else. And that's finding that joy in this process, because it'll get busy. But you know what, guys? Like success, you're never going to find something that's truly worthy and successful without working really hard at it. And if you think you found something that you don't have to do that in, it's probably not the real deal. So just remember that and keep the joy in this. And always remember, if you're feeling overwhelmed, and by the way, the first thing I tell my coaches on my team is, I actually say this to them, like, hey, you're going to get overwhelmed the first couple of weeks. You're going to get really overwhelmed. And I tell them, like, I give them permission to do that. And I'm like, that's okay. It's okay to feel that way. That just means that something really cool is on the other side of that. And that's how I start them off on like the right foot, is telling them, listen, it's going to get really busy and that's okay. That's what I'm here for. That's what our supportive team is here for. You got to run your race, guys. I know you hear this all the time. Man, comparison is the thief of joy. I still do it to this day, and I try to block myself. I do that 5-second rule that I talked to you about. I'm like, if I start to compare myself to other people, I'm like 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then I steer my focus somewhere else on something that's positive. Because people ask me, like, how did you get such a fast start in Beachbody? Like, because when I started Beachbody, I was 42 years old. I taught high school before. I'd lived in like 3 different towns. I'd ran a company where I met a lot of people. I had a bigger network than other people. You don't have to do that, guys. For some of you, it's going to take 3 years. Newsflash, for some of you, it's going to take 5 years. The whole thing is that here's the problem, right? We see so many coaches jump ship or quit 3 months in, and I don't understand it, because I never came from that background. Like, I went to university where I had to spend 5 years at university, and I had to go $100,000 in debt to get a degree that I was hoping to get a job at, and society deems that okay. They're like, yeah, cool, go into $100,000 in debt. Of course that's cool. You're gonna get a degree because that's what society says you have to do, and then you might get a job. But like, people can't go 3 months into coaching and they're not making $1,000 a week, and they're like, what's going on with this business? It's awful. I can't do this. Well, guys, this is a long race, and you got to run your race, and it's going to be different than other people's. It's going to be. The only thing that's going to guarantee you're not going to make success, there's only one guarantee that you won't do well in this, and that's by stopping what you're doing and quitting too early. That's the only thing that guarantees you from not being successful. The only thing, you know? So you got to run your race. Don't compare. We all come from different backgrounds. We all have different stuff going on. It's like, I had a coach on my team who, she's been literally coaching for 1 year, and she's making about, this is Canadian dollars, so different than US dollars, but she's literally been making, she makes about like $2,000 a month after a year. And she's like, yeah, I just don't know if I'm going. I'm like, what are you talking about? Like $2,000 after a year and she's doing it part-time for her $20 business fee. I'm like, what do you mean it's not working for you? But that's that immediate gratification mentality that you have to get out. And like, Melanie Mitra came on our call the other time, and I talked about immediate gratification and not having that, like having to get out of that mind. And she came up with this, she calls it delaying immediate gratification, like DIG, dig. I use the term dig now. It's like you have to delay that immediate gratification, right? Delay that, oh, I want to watch Grey's Anatomy, or man, I want to watch, or whatever you're into, The Bachelor, you know, whatever you want to, it's like you have to delay the immediate gratification because you have to have that long-term vision of, if I choose to do something else for this hour, I'm going to actually have a chance to achieve what I really want to achieve. And man, our success in life and business, and I'm not telling you anything you know, and I should have said this at the start of the call, I'm probably not going to share with you anything you haven't heard before. Maybe I'm just going to share it to you in a different format. But like, yeah, this whole crazy world is based on the hundreds of decisions that you have to make every single day. They're all and many of them are not even conscious of it, right? They're all based on these fractional decisions, and every decision you make, you're either getting better or you're getting worse. Think of that. Every single decision you make on a general idea is you're either getting a little bit better or you're getting a little bit worse based on your decision. And the whole key is, if you keep making more better decisions than poor ones, you're going to get closer to where you want to be at. And I use this all the time. Like, I set my alarm in the morning, and yeah, I'll hit snooze, but I know the decision I have to make has to be a good one, so I can just get up, so I can get my workout in, and so I can start on my day before the kids get up, and I can get an hour of work in. That's a good decision I've made that's going to move me to closer to my goals. You know, that's going to get me to where I want to be. You know, at night, yeah, sometimes at night, I want to have a glass of scotch. That's what I want to do. Sometimes I'm a self-medicator. You know, that's just me being real with you guys. I have to choose some nights. No, I can't, because I know if I have that glass, I'll probably have another one, and that's going to stop me from working for the night. And so I have to make more good decisions than poor ones. And I know myself, like I know what I have to do on a daily basis. And you have to think every day, you guys, you know, if you really want to break this down, write out on a daily basis, you know, write out in 2 columns, very simple, maybe some poor decisions you're making, maybe some of the better ones you could make, and start canceling off some of those poor decisions. Because I'm telling you guys, this is what it takes to get there. You just have to make so many more better decisions than poor ones. And soon what you're going to find is you're going to actually get closer to your goals. And again, guys, it's going to take some of you a little longer than other people. Just don't compare. But if you keep making more good ones than poor ones, you're going to get there. But it's about sacrifice. One of the first videos I ever watched, you guys have all seen it, is Scotty's video. I think you're at your cabin on the stairs, and you're sitting there, and it's like probably one of the, I don't know if it's one of the first videos you did, but you're just being so raw. That was one of the first videos I watched. And no one ever told me that guys struggled in this business. No one ever told me that. I was like, I signed up. I had Miguel as my mentor. He crushes it. His work ethic is insane. I was like, okay, if I want any level of success that Miguel's doing, I have to work really hard. That's what I knew. And I knew I had to sacrifice the stuff. I had to stop playing fantasy baseball. I actually stopped playing men's hockey. Partly stopped playing men's hockey because as the older I get, the slower I got. And when the young kids would go around me, I want to slash them in the ankles. So I had to stop for that because I have that temper. So I had to stop that as well. And then I saw Scotty's video, and I'm like, okay, if I want to get anywhere remotely close to what Scotty's doing, I have to actually make some sacrifices in my life. And guys, this isn't me telling you new stuff. It's just real. And you have to decide, and I said this on the NWC, it's like now I can't even remember my own quote. I said something like, your desire to change your circumstances has to be stronger than your desire to stay in the same place. So if you want to change where you are, you want to change what you're doing right now, you have to have this desire to change, but you have to sacrifice to get there, you guys. And listen, if you told me what I'm going to tell you next, if I told you this was going to happen, 2 years ago when I signed up, I wouldn't have believed you. And it's not because I didn't have the belief, but it's come quicker than I thought. But like today, as I sit here talking to you, my wife was supposed to be on this call with us, but she's not on the call because She has to travel an hour and a half to get to work and an hour and a half home. That's her corporate job. And 2 weeks ago, maybe 3 weeks ago, she handed in her retirement papers. So today is her last day working her corporate job. And all the stuff, the sacrifices that we've made, all the sacrifices, like we went all in from day one, you guys. There was no half-assing it here. You know, yeah, some days were tough. Some days my wife and I got in arguments and looked at each other and were like, is this the right thing to do? Like, are we doing this right? Is this worth all the sacrifice? You know, you guys, today's worth the sacrifice. Yeah, I wish she was on this call, but you know what I'm happy about? It's her last day at her job. I Zoomed with her, not Zoomed, I FaceTimed with her earlier, and she was like literally staring out her window at her office job, being like, you know, half crying that she can come home now and she's going to be home full-time doing Beachbody full-time. And so anything is possible, you guys, but you kind of have to start with that belief. And if you have a goal and you say that goal and you want to verbalize that goal and you write it down, your actions better match your goals. That's the only way it's going to get there. No one's coming into your house. No one's going to walk into your house right now, walk in the door and be like, hey, I'm here to make your dreams come true. That just won't happen. That's up to you, you guys. It's up to you. And you can do it. I'm proof. I'm a small town kid. I just was willing to go for it and make some sacrifices, and it's worked out really well. So that's my call for you guys. I don't know how long I went for, Scotty, but
that was awesome, Jamie. You got me a little bit emotional at the end. Like we're a part of that huge accomplishment of her having her last day today. So
crazy.
I took a bunch of notes. I want you to know that. So I'm taking that back from you. So I can go back to some of the basics on some of the things. It's awesome to see what you've been able to do. We are, let's see, it's 12:40. Let's just take one question. We went a little bit long, but does anybody have a question that they want to ask Jamie before we let him go? And you can just unmute yourself and ask it or type it. Don't be shy.
I have a question for you, Jamie.
Hey, Heather.
Hey, my question is, approximately how much do you spend per month on Facebook ads and advertising?
Well, I like to better answer that question, what percentage of my income I spend, because I think that's more relatable to all of you. Because I did Facebook advertising when I first started, but I'll be honest with you, I've probably wasted a lot of money on advertising that wasn't as beneficial as I thought it could have been. That being said, listen, and I will get to your point here, but advertising is like any kind of advertising in any business you do. You put an ad out there, and it's really hard sometimes to track the effect it has, whether you're doing like a magazine ad for regular businesses, because I've done that stuff too. So it's really hard. Like, you have to ask yourself, if, you know, you could say, oh, I placed it, and I had never done this, but I placed a $2,000 one-day ad today to get coaches, you know, and for 5 straight weeks, it may not work, but on the 6th week, I attract Scotty Hobbs 2.0. Well, is that $10,000 worth attracting Scotty Hobbs 2.0? Probably, because over time, it's going to blow up your legs and stuff like that. So the point is that you can never really know. It's not an exact science how much you spend is going to be worth it and stuff like that. That being said, I probably have spent probably 5 to 7 to 10% of my income on advertising. I will say this though, I spend a much larger percentage investing it back in the business, into my team, events, traveling. I go to every event. I don't hold back. Like I don't mind spending money on events and my team and all that stuff. So that's a much higher percentage. But if I would say for new coaches, I think invest your time and your money in your business and your team. I don't think it has to be necessarily in Facebook ads. That wasn't what launched our business. I hope that helped.
Yeah, that helps. Those are the two things that we have. Like when you're starting a leverage in business, you were in business before. It's either you can spend time or you can spend money. You know, you can spend both of them. But I, for example, just to go on top of Jamie's, like I've only ran probably 2 ads in my 6 years. And like, I'm the guy that didn't know what I was doing. So I just threw money out.
Yeah.
They were only like $300 ads that ran for like 2 weeks. So I probably spent like $600 and I didn't do anything with it. So, you know, you can build organically and you can build with ads as well. So I just want to throw my piece in there too.
Yeah. I think, Scotty, what happens too is for some coaches who maybe, and I don't know your situation, Heather, or anyone for that matter, but like, I think what happens for newer coaches who maybe feel like it's just not going for them. I don't want you to think that advertising is the end all be all. That's not the secret sauce of all this. It's not. So I just wanted to throw that in there.
Awesome. Okay. I like that tip though. 7 to 10% invested back into your business. That's a good one. Okay. Well, we've got to get off the call. I have recorded this call, so I'll put it up in the team page. It'll be on my YouTube channel as well with the other calls. But once again, Jamie, we want to say thanks for sharing your experience and your wisdom with us and what you've done. It's incredible to see what you've done in 2 years. So happy 2-year anniversary, and let Kim know that we're excited as well that she's officially retired from her job to be home with you guys. So we'll see you guys later, and we'll see you next week.
Awesome. Thanks for the opportunity, guys. Appreciate it.
See ya.